Sports. I'm Dr. Darrell Wolf. This is DocStar TV, and today I have Anita Stewart, and she is one of the flagship actual specialists for food forest abundance. And then tomorrow I'll be having Sophia from Food Forest Abundance on, and then the next day we're going to have Jim Gale to wrap this whole series up. And as you know, we've already had 4 people. We have 3 more. That's 7. And that's got to be a lucky number because we're trying to show you something. And what would that be? Well, that you cannot make other people responsible for delivering your food, especially when they are psychos. And understand something, I said that. Vanguard, BlackRock, okay? And the tobacco industry now owns all the food corporations and supermarkets. And guess what? At any time that they get together, these psychos, and they decide that they want to turn things off, okay, from you getting food because they want to take away maybe some more of your rights, or just because, guess what? We can do it. You know, did you ever just want to hurt someone because you could? I'll tell you, there was a time in my life that I could tell that I did that in some of my relationships. And I'm going to tell you something. These guys don't have a very good relationship with human beings. So I'm telling you right now, the reason why I brought on all these specialists that talk about growing your own food, creating a food forest abundance, is all about you just taking back your God-given right, okay, to just rock your life. I've got Anita Stewart, and I want to bring her on right now. Anita, how are you, love?
I'm doing fine. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. So, Anita, can you just tell everybody your background? It's pretty extensive. I mean, you're a real doer. So why don't you tell them what your background is, and let's kick it off there.
Well, I started out with media because my father was a media person. He started out on some of the radio stations in Detroit, ended up owning one in Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
WQTW, one of the first rock and roll radio stations actually in
Oh, I love
that
them
part of the
already.
country.
I love rock and roll.
Yeah, so my first love, of course, has always been music. Later, as I got older, I went into the military. I felt it was my duty to do that. I worked in intelligence operations. After 9/11, that really was the start of my activism. So knowing
that was everybody's wake-up call that we were all sucker punched. Okay.
Exactly, and it was
All right.
it was just like a come to God moment. Like, you know, we knew it was a pretense. We knew the war machine had started under a pretense. So I got very involved in the peace movement. And then I went into a lot of the political as much as like supporting candidates that were local. Then I ended up being staff for Congressman Kucinich. I worked with Cynthia McKinney, also a congresswoman, and then I decided to run myself, and I ran. I had left the Democratic Party, joined the Green Party, and ran for the Hillsborough County Soil and Water Board, and ran the campaign on $300.
Oh, wow.
Basically.
Wow. Cool.
So yeah, so that was an accomplishment. And then just recently, I've worked on a couple of other campaigns. And then I had also done some editing of a rock and roll magazine. So I've been involved in like social media, networking, just knowing the right people. And then I knew about food forest abundance, but basically I was pulled in just a couple months ago to start helping with the calendar of events. And I find that my background has really helped with this. So we're filling up the calendar for 2024. The focus is food equals freedom. So
Doesn't it? Oh, wait a minute. Real food equals freedom.
right.
I don't think we can say food equals freedom. I think it would, if I was the marketer, it'd be real food equals freedom because food doesn't equal freedom. Real food equals freedom.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, go
I
ahead, love.
I was pretty involved with the local March Against Monsanto as well. So when that started getting to be like a huge,
Which is now Bayer, which is owned by Bayer,
right.
which is the
So
same,
we had
which is the same
events, we
company that
had,
started the First and Second World War. Okay, got it.
right.
Great.
And
Okay.
it was a huge movement here for quite some time.
Hmm.
And of course, we still didn't get what we want. Some of the food is labeled, some of it is not. Um, Anybody who's really concerned about their food should be watching people like Zen Honeycutt and a few other people
Like
that
who? Can you
are,
tell me who else we should watch?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Who else should we watch? Who should we be watching? A few people, you said.
Zen Honeycutt is one person. She's actively involved in legislation, in letting people know through social media what food is okay, what food is not. They just did an extensive event in regards to fast food
Yeah.
facilities and tested the food. So anybody can go and find her on the socials and look and see some of her videos, which are very telling. So what Food Forest Abundance is doing is making sure that this food is planted, kept safe, not using fertilizers or chemicals of any kind. We've been lately very concerned about the chemtrails that are being laid on top of the farm and pretty much all of Orlando and Central Florida.
Well,
So,
they're going to target the farm.
right, right.
That's why I moved to Mexico. There is no chemtrails in Mexico. None. No
Wow.
chemtrails, no 5G, no GMOs, no glyphosate, no herbicides, no pesticides, no genocide. Everybody, everybody in Canada and United States and even throughout the world have all been misled down here. You know, I I I eat organic every day for 30% of the cost or 25% of the cost that people eat non-organic.
I
You
have a
know.
niece that's living in Switzerland and it's the same thing. She doesn't have to go and search out her food at all. She knows that the water is pure. The water is
Hmm.
pure coming out of the tap. And here I'm living in Zephyr Hills, which is, you know, pretty much a lot of the bottled water in this part of the country comes from Zephyr Hills, which is literally 5 miles from here. And I can't drink water out of my tap. So that to me is bizarre that we don't know what's in there. In fact, we have a filter on, but we take the water out of the tap and we still boil it before we drink it or before we even give it to our pets.
Just know that you got to structure it. If you structure it, you're going to be safe. And please look up structuring. It's called fourth phase water. And I hope you know that rainwater is structured. So when the rainwater comes down, it was full of acid rain before the chemtrails. Now it's full of chemtrails. And guess what? When it comes down, does it harm the birds, the bees, the flowers, the trees, or the crops? No. It's the same growth. Everything's the same since 500 years ago because the invisible will actually alter the physical. And believe it or not, I have what's called a structure unit that we sell online, and it's not because you have to buy mine. There's other ones, but mine is a 90-day money back. You put that under any tap, you don't have to filter.
Wow.
And people can't wrap their head around that until they do the science. And it's actually called structuring, and it supersedes everything physical. So you haven't eliminated the physical things, but guess what? They'll never harm you. Let me tell you something. I drink every day out of the tap. I don't buy bottled water. I don't have a filtration system. I have a structure unit. Now, I'm not trying
That's
to
very
sell you this.
interesting.
I'm trying to tell you that that's why they make collecting rainwater illegal in the United States and a lot of states, because collecting rainwater, it doesn't matter if there can still be the heavy metals, chemicals in it. You put that on anything and it's going to jump for joy. You ever notice you can have a little bit of rain, everything jumps for joy after, right? You don't see anything dying. Microorganisms come to life. Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, that's
No.
because the actual atmosphere actually structures the water before it gets here. Okay.
Right,
Anyways,
right.
take it away, Anita.
Well, I think it's interesting that we can come together um, under, all kinds of different umbrellas, and that's what food forest, abundance is just one umbrella where we can come together about natural food, purifying our water, medicine, how we can create things naturally that can heal us. And that's another thing, is a lot of these events will have to do with natural healing, and the body wants to live, so
Yes,
the
it
body
does.
is going to do that natural thing that's going to promote that healing no matter what.
Hmm.
So I like that whole idea of having the events, bringing the people
So
in.
your past experience is the super event girl.
Yeah. Yeah, actually,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. As a social media person, virtual outreach expert, what strategies do you find most effective in engaging, educating online communities about sustainable living?
I think just finding those areas that people want to learn and letting them know that we do that.
Yeah,
We can show them how to grow a food forest in their own yard. Um, we can bring somebody in that knows. I know a little bit about it, but I have other people that I know that are experts in creating tinctures for healing, just naturally out of herbs. Um,
the herbs that you grow right in your front yard, backyard, or where the side of
right.
your house, wherever. I get it.
Right. Or just doing yoga, having a
Yeah,
yoga program, Reiki share, all of these different things that we know work. Life wants to live. And I keep saying that to people. So it's amazing how many people really want to learn these
right,
things.
right.
And they are just like pretty much beating the door down to get in, to get taught. We have just this past week, we had somebody reach us from a very well-known private school that wants to start some programs with the students. So the students understand where their food is coming from, and why it's so important to have a food forest, or know that your food doesn't come from the grocery store.
Well, that's why they call it adulteration. Students still have a chance to actually find their authentic self and their authentic purpose. Anybody that's an adult is totally corrupted. So,
Right.
because everything is about belief systems, and we don't understand that we run 98% of our day by belief systems, and guess what? They're not our own.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so I have a question here, and the question is this: why, being an intelligent ops specialist, what will that do for, or how does that mix into food forest abundance? Okay,
I will admit that a lot of working with intelligence operations in the military had to do with hunches,
had to do
or
with, oh,
maybe
hunches. Oh, yes. Oh, instinct.
and
Super
knowing,
consciousness. Got it.
yeah, and knowing somebody's hustle by watching them walk.
Yeah,
um knowing somebody's intentions before anybody else does, being able to question them and get to the root of any matter that you're discussing.
I get it. I do. Yeah, sure. That's needed because guess
It
what?
works.
There'll always be somebody trying to infiltrate something that will empower people that they want disempowered. That's
Right,
just the nature of the beast.
right.
Corporations, yeah, they don't like when somebody breaks away.
Or a lot of times, especially, I hate to bring sexism into it, but when you're a woman and you know a lot more than the men you work with, that can be a problem. So, you know,
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? I wrote a book and did a masterclass video called I Am Woman. And I actually did the history on that. It started 5,000 years ago. The church and government came together, and it said the only last thing we need to do here is to pit man against woman and to let them know that the woman was made from one of his ribs and that she needs to just follow.
Okay.
I know, but you know what? You tell a story long enough and strong enough, people are going to believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't seem like you know your place, Anita.
Right, right. So I just sit back a lot of times, I guess Intel
And
taught me,
observe.
intelligence has taught me to observe.
Yeah, be silent and observe.
Hmm.
I get it. And that's a highly intelligent person when you're just quiet and you allow the BS to ramble, and then you can just observe and learn from it and then create a strategy that's winning for you and for the others, right?
Exactly.
I get it. I get it. Welcome to Planet Earth, a life-threatening, fun-filled adventure, Anita. And I think you got the rule book. Okay, that's fantastic. Yes, that's fantastic. Can you share your journey from working on the political campaigns to advocating for environmental causes, and then why and how that's now being directed into food forest abundance?
I think I was involved in the peace movement. Then I started, supporting candidates
Right.
and supporting, political parties. Lastly, the Green Party, and then another big wake up call for me was when the Gulf oil spill happened on April 20th, 2010.
Yeah.
And I had heard that independent media went out to the site to try to see exactly what was happening.
Right.
And they were forbidden by the US Coast Guard to go past a specific perimeter. And as a veteran,
Well, that's the same as Hawaii right now, too. Nobody's been allowed in, you know.
right,
And nobody in Hawaii has ever got any insurance money because the insurance companies aren't allowed in there.
right.
And all they want to do is take a picture that the house doesn't exist. Okay, go ahead,
Yeah,
love.
it was a wake up call for me that our own military had a presence there and that they were not allowing freedom of speech or anybody in to take pictures or to ask questions.
Well, look who did
And
the spill. That's all. There's your
yeah, for the
answer.
rest of
So
for
look who
many
did your spill.
years.
You know that, if you work for the government that's inside the government, you can get away with murder.
Right.
All right.
For many years after that, I worked with some other medical people,
Yeah.
and we were documenting the people that were ill in the Gulf region,
Mm-hmm.
people that had diseases that were caused not just by the oil plume itself and from the cleanup, but also from the Corexit, which was a chemical that was basically carpet bombed throughout the whole Gulf region. And if you looked on the MSDS data sheet, you could
Mm-hmm.
see how how toxic the Corexit really was. But I would say most of the medical issues were caused from the Corexit. And this chemical was being sprayed by our own military. So these were missions that were going out from, bases that were located really all around the Gulf region.
Right.
So I tried to talk about it, and nobody, basically what I was saying was ignored. And I thought to myself, if veterans knew, there would definitely be some loud, outspoken people talking about this, but it was never mentioned. So
You
I
know what,
went from
Anita?
there to just watching what
Mm,
the oil companies were doing. And the next big one was the LNG pipeline, which was called
right.
Stop Sable Trail,
Yeah.
which, which was coming from Alabama, southwest Georgia, and all the way down through Florida. And we were unsuccessful with that initiative, but the social networks that I created are still in place. And nobody really talks about this pipeline. And it's LNG, and it's supposed to be something we need. And apparently they're not hardly getting anything from this pipeline. So what was the purpose? Cash, you know.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Patriot, advocate, protester. I don't do that anymore. It's energy draining. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but the reality is this. People have to be changed from the inside out. They have to be changed. Their beliefs need to change. You can't change governmental beliefs because the government is working just the way it was built. You know, people say, oh, I can't stand my doctor. I can't stand the What are you talking about? They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. People talk like as if they've been taken over by some exorcism, or people talk like as if the medical system's off track. They're totally on track with everything they've ever been built to do. The government is never going to change. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. And I apologize to anybody who I'm offending, but the reality is this. Politics never accomplishes anything. Going out and doing like what Jim has done, that does it. Oh, and you can reach maybe some generals or some governors, maybe if you can ding on their doorbell and see if they're going to do something, but, trying to work your way up through the ranks and trying to make a difference. I've already done that. I don't need another headache. I want to go and get all of the people that do not realize, that we've been screwed over by all the systems. And those systems are always going to be protected. And you know that. You knew that you could only get so high up in the chain and then you were knocked back down again. And it was said, we'll review this and get back to you. You got that all the time. At least I'll tell you one thing, working with Food Forest Abundance and Jim Gale, you're going to see your work, be worth 100 times its energy. Because people will respect you for everything that you've done. You can't jump into a swamp and expect to be respected,
I think the answer is food and making sure that our neighborhoods and people have what they need. And there's certain areas in the world where they actually do monoculture, and even that works. But when you're doing a food forest, you're allowing your neighborhood to have so much more. If everybody's doing a little bit of this in their backyard.
Oh my God! What if we really? What if
monoculture happening in Germany, where
right
in one single neighborhood, every person grows a specific vegetable, and then they have a market and everybody trades it.
There it is, Anita. There it is. What if we really didn't try to bullshit and pretend that we really loved and cared for people, and we actually did? What do you think would happen? What do you think would really happen?
Revolutionary.
But you got to have respect for yourself, or you're not going to respect others.
Right.
And that's where my work comes in, because you can't give what you're not.
Exactly.
You can't. But I love your head. I love your thought, and I love your platform. I think it's wonderful. And you know what? You had to do all these other things to get you all that other stuff to get you to where you are right now.
Yes. It was like a pathway, a little bit at a time, to kind of nudge me in the right direction. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about your successful campaign for the Soil and Water Conservation Board. Okay? And let's talk about that.
I knew I wanted to run for office, and the Green Party in Florida wanted to support me in that. So I found out about the Soil and Water Board, and I thought nothing could be better than dispensing funds to farmers who need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit of money that comes down from the governor's office that goes to the farmers. And they use the money to do improvements on their farms. It could be like irrigation or some of the drop cloths that help them when season is really hot. Anything they happen to need like that. So
Right.
right away, once I had that commitment that the Green Party was going to assist me, I put together the social networks. And at that time, Facebook was like the new hot thing. So we're talking 2009 about. Um, and people knew me pretty much from my environmental work already.
Mm-hmm.
But when they saw me running for office, they said, "Hey, I'm gonna vote for you." So I ran 300. I think I had $300 in the very beginning. Stuck it in the bank. Found somebody I really trusted who was a CPA who was my treasurer, and that was it. It was so super easy. I was running against 4 other people for my seat. They were all males. I was the only female.
Oh, that should
Um,
have been fun.
and I think it helped that I was a woman, but also I did get 82,000 votes. So I think I probably broke the record for how much money I actually spent for each vote, probably even to this day. So
Beautiful. So you're a bit of an artist, aren't you? Photographer, something to do with music. Can you talk to me about that? And will that play a part in your new little adventure? Not little, but big adventure with Food Forest?
I think that that helps in regards to working with social networks a lot, like photography and art, because, when you're faced with like a blank canvas, it
Mm-hmm.
can literally, I'm looking at my computer as I do this. When you're looking at a blank canvas, you're trying to figure out how to fill it
Right,
up. So,
right. I get it.
and you want to
Yeah.
use specific colors for branding and colors that
Mm-hmm.
go together and colors that reflect the work you're doing,
Oh,
because each color
you're
means.
going to be a big asset to this group. They
Oh,
are
thank
so
you.
they're no, I'm not going to just say something that's not true. You're going to be a big blessing. So
Thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of how I put together a social network or website or
yeah.
whatever. With the music, um, I had done um, some of the curating work with So Far Sounds, bringing in independent curated shows to Tampa, and knew a lot of the people in the music business already. And then my friend, a good friend of mine, decided she was going to put together an online magazine, which she did, called Rocket Night. It still exists. And I've done podcasts, interviews,
So
live reviews,
where does that all
show
play into
reviews, and
Food
album
Forest
reviews.
Abundance? What tricks do you have up your sleeve for Food Forest Abundance with all this background? Huh?
Probably bringing some music there for some of the events.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a lot of fun. Designing things online. Sophia is really great at that, doing the branding. You'll be talking with her tomorrow.
Yes.
I would like to say that I'm a pretty good help to her in making final decisions or being a second pair of eyes for
Yes.
some of the things she's created.
Hmm.
Um,
I know
and
I always need a second pair, third pair, fourth pair, fifth pair. I call in my whole group to help me, you know?
That's a good idea to do that. I mean, especially even if you're writing and you've got a little piece you're writing, you're not sure about it,
Yeah.
sleep on it, have somebody else read it, and you can kind
Yeah.
of get like the real critique on it.
It's always been
So,
about teamwork, hasn't it, though, Anita?
yes,
Yes.
and that's what Food Forest Abundance will do. We
Yeah.
have people that want to help, people that want to get involved. Um, the simplest way to get involved is to become an ambassador.
How do you do
And
that? How do you become an ambassador?
right on the website under Join Our Mission,
Yeah.
you'll see a way that you can become an ambassador. You can earn, as an ambassador, you can earn 10% commission on the sales of all designs through an affiliate link that you use.
Mm-hmm.
You can earn 5% commission on all the consultations sold through your affiliate link.
Mm-hmm.
And you
I
can
think this
earn
is all
5%
important. You know,
commission.
everybody
ahead.
can say that money doesn't matter. Everybody can say, I just want to be helpful. But you know what? When you are making some kind of monetary from it, it's nice.
Yeah.
It supports the energy. It supports the mission.
I always say money is just an energy like anything
Yes, it
else.
is.
So when you're using it to create something or to do something specific, it
Mm-hmm.
really just pays you for the time and effort that went into it. And that part of it's important, you
Well,
know,
I know if I didn't make the money, I wouldn't be able to give my perfect day guide free to the world. I wouldn't be able to create a Braveheart Nation app to get people to come together. So, you know, without it, we can't do things. So, you know, you better love what
right,
it can do, because it, you know, it's also it can become a weapon of love. You know, a weapon of passion and purpose.
right,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So there's other ways to get involved, but that ambassador program is really good.
Right.
And then you can be, if you're really good in permaculture and you have a certificate, you can always work with Food Forest Abundance. They have a design team, installer team, or you can volunteer time on the farm if you live close to St. Cloud,
St.
Florida.
Cloud,
And there's
Florida.
Food
Yeah.
Forest Abundance all over the world.
All
So
over the world now. Yeah. And
yeah,
it'd be great if they actually put a map up and with little flags, so you go on a certain country and you find out where there is one.
yeah, that would be a good suggestion that, you know, we could bring up for sure.
Well,
There's
it's yours.
also,
You go bring it up, okay?
yeah, there's a Facebook group. The Facebook group has almost 6,000 people on it right now from all over the world, and we can kind of gauge what's happening in different
And it's a
countries.
Facebook group called Food Forest Abundance.
Right.
Okay,
So
I just want to
anyone
make
can
sure.
join that.
Yeah,
Completely open. We're on Instagram. We're on X, formerly known as Twitter.
yeah,
So there's a huge online presence.
beautiful.
So I always tell people, join up, you know, ask questions. And I tell people, if you're in the Tampa, Orlando areas, you can go out and have a walkthrough at the site of the farm.
St.
So
Cloud, yeah.
yeah. So
Hey,
that's
I want to ask you a question. What are you doing? Some kind of rebel thing? Stop Sable Trail. What is that? What is that?
the Stop Sable Trail was the pipeline going through Florida.
Okay, all right. Okay,
So that was the initial name of it.
okay.
And we worked very closely with the indigenous people as well.
Sure.
So we have renamed the social networks for that, and we call them Stop the Snake, and basically stop the snake everywhere. At the time that we were fighting Sable Trail, there were 43 other pipelines going in throughout North America. So
Wow,
it
that's a
was a
lot.
huge, massive movement happening everywhere.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I don't know the status of all these pipelines. At one point I did have a list, so I don't know what were installed and what weren't.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
So
All right. So, as a promoter of musicians and artists yourself, how do you see the arts contributing to the conversation around environmental sustainability? Okay.
I think a lot of these events, it's really good to get people to come out when they know there's going to be music, there's going to be events for the
And
kids,
dancing, yeah, gotta love it.
dancing, drum circles, children that are able to do something very creative with the plants, or even plant a tree, or take seeds home and start, you know, seedlings themselves in their own environment.
You know, when I was in Australia, I bought an Aboriginal drum. Okay. Okay. And it's like Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, they have a very intense spiritual expression there in Australia, and drumming is always a thing to connect. The beat is supposed to be the heartbeat of Mother Earth,
Yeah.
so it connects you to the planet.
Yeah, that really is it. I mean, if you really want to make something happen, you need events. And that's the deal to do it, right?
Right.
Music, dance, healthy food. I mean, seriously, okay? People getting together and creating what they tried to stop during COVID, right? Coming together.
Right. Right.
Well, that's all that was about. It's to lock everybody away so they could do all their dirty work, right?
I think a lot of it was a test to see how people would react.
I didn't stay in.
Yeah,
I just told them that, just make enough tickets for me so I can wallpaper a room and be proud.
We were pretty lucky here in the Tampa area.
Well, you would be. Come on, you're in Florida, free state.
Yeah, we didn't have as much. In Tampa, we did have some lockdown, but once you left Tampa, it was pretty much freedom everywhere else. I would say the bigger cities, you had the lockdowns, but we were very lucky. And my partner and I, he and I went through it, and we did get COVID. We never got the shots or anything, but we did get COVID. And when we got it, it was like a cold. So.
Yeah, I know, but COVID's been around since the beginning of time. And the intensity of your cold is only the intensity of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. You've got to get rid of it, and that's all we're doing.
Yeah,
we're detoxifying.
And it's all based on immune systems and how healthy and how strong, you know. So
very good. So for our listeners who are inspired by your journey and want to learn more about sustainable living, how can they connect with you or Food Forest Abundant for your strategy sessions?
I think the foodforestabundance.com website is the best place to start. And another one that's really good is Galt's. I'm typing it as we.
I think it's galtzfarm.org. Is that correct?
They've got it's Galt's Landing.
Oh, Galt's Landing.
.farm.
And everybody, that's Galt's. That's GALTS landing.farm. That's right.
Right.
Galt's landing.farm. Okay.
And there's also Airbnbs. There's tours when you schedule them.
I know the stay there is beautiful.
Events.
They've got beautiful Airbnbs. They got a beautiful lake. You can go fishing.
Right.
It's gorgeous there.
They have volunteer permablitzes where if you just want to spend 2 or 3 hours, you can come and do some work on the farm. The events and networking link is right there on galtzlanding.farm. So you can click into that and see what's coming up next. There's so many things planned for 2024 and even more after that as we go forward. We're developing a system so we can get these events out quickly and have the right people teaching them.
That's beautiful. What else would you like to share with everyone?
Hope to see you all out there. If you want to connect with me, it's easy. I'm Anita at foodforestabundance.com. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Anita at foodforestabundance.com.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you, Anita, and you are truly going to be a blessing to these people. With your background and everything you have, all I can say is from the bottom of my heart is welcome to their team, because we need this to rock the world, okay? We need it. We need it to rock the world. We need to shake things up a little bit.
I think so. Getting back to the earth is the most natural way we can do it.
And you know what, everyone? It's not difficult. It's not hard. You know what? We've all been programmed that farming is backbreaking. Okay, it is just the most awful thing you'll ever do, and you'll probably fail. And that's not true.
Nope.
because we're going to do the right kind of farming, aren't we?
Right. There's simple tasks if you're differently abled and you can't do certain things like shovel dirt or
Yeah.
create a compost pile. There's a lot of simple things you can do to get the farm going too. It could be planting seeds, teaching, whatever skills you have, you can put them on the table and use them.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Anita.
All right, y'all have a great night.
You have the
Thank
best
you.
night of your life, Anita, and thank you for your blessings.
Thanks.
All
Bye-bye
right,
now.
sweetheart. Bye now. Well, there you go. There's another beautiful ambassador for food forest abundance, and they're everywhere around the world. And every day somebody's creating a new food forest in their backyard, in their front yard, or if they've got their a field, they're doing it. So just try to think outside the box, okay? Because they've tried to create a box, okay, that we have to stay in, and we need to get rid of that. You need to understand this, that is when you get an imagination and you get that imagination restored back to you, you will then have the knowledge to move forward with your passion, your purpose, and your mission. Okay? And I'm going to tell you something. The day that I decided to mind my own business and realize that I am a beautiful light energy, electrical magnetic being, and I never held anything or put a chokehold on myself again or believed in anything that made me less. I only believe in things that make me more. And when you do that, you'll find your roar. I want to thank you for being with me. Download my PDG free guide. Okay, that's pdgfree.com, and take a look if I haven't gifted you. Go to my library. I have more master classes, emotional, nutritional, physical. I have more truth in there, and it's all free to you. And we will be coming out with our Braveheart Nation app in April. This is the most advanced app in health, okay, and in emotional awareness and training on the planet. Connect to your breath, put a slight smile on your face, and stop creating chaos. And the only way you're going to do that is change your beliefs. And the only way you're going to do that is change parts of your personality to change your reality. The world's always been beautiful, but the belief systems that we don't know that we run, because so many people run them, we think that's as good as it could get. Okay? You know what? The stars are not the limit. Okay? Your beliefs are. 3, 2, 1. You've got this, Braveheart. God bless.